We have prepared for you 100 more real estate questions that will help you study and prepare for your real estate exam. Please like this video as it helps our channel. Now let's get started.
Question 1. Which two documents are necessary to establish a legally binding mortgage loan? A. Promissory note and deed of trust. B. Sales contract and mortgage agreement. C. Title insurance and appraisal report. D. Warranty deed and lease agreement. The correct answer is A. Promissory note and deed of trust. The promissory note outlines the borrower's promise to repay the loan, while the deed of trust secures the property as collateral for the loan. Question 2. If a buyer defaults on a sales contract after providing $10,000 as earnest money for a $200,000 property, what can the seller do with the $10,000? A. Return the entire amount to the buyer. B. Keep the entire amount as compensation. C. Deduct any incurred expenses and return the remaining amount. D. Distribute the money among the real estate agents involved. The correct answer is B. Keep the entire amount as compensation. Earnest money serves as a form of security deposit and is typically forfeited by the buyer in the event of default as a way to compensate the seller for any losses or damages. Question 3. Surface rights, air rights, and subsurface rights are all rights that can be sold by a property owner while still retaining the property itself. These rights are known as A. Severable rights. B. Literal rights. C. Owner's rights. D. Riparian rights. The correct answer is A. Severable rights. Surface rights, air rights, and subsurface rights can be sold separately and are called severable rights. Question 4. When an easement allows the use of a neighboring property, which automatically transfers upon the sale of either dominant or servient property, it is called what type of easement? A. Easement by prescription. B. Easement appurtenant. C. Easement in gross. D. Easement of utility. The correct answer is B. Easement appurtenant. Appurtenant means runs with the land. An easement appurtenant is an easement allowing the use of a neighboring property, which automatically transfers upon the sale of either dominant or servient property. Question 5. In real estate, what is the closest meaning to the term quieting a title? A. Clearing any liens or encumbrances on a property. B. Transferring ownership from the seller to the buyer. C. Resolving disputes over property boundaries. D. Conducting a thorough property inspection. The correct answer is A. Clearing any liens or encumbrances on a property. Quieting a title refers to the legal process of resolving any claims, defects, or disputes that could cloud or challenge the ownership rights of a property, ensuring a clear and marketable title. Question 6. What is the highest form of land ownership which includes the full and complete bundle of property rights? A. Fee simple defeasible. B. Fee simple determinable. C. Fee simple condition. Subsequent. D. Fee simple absolute. The correct answer is D. Fee simple absolute. Fee simple absolute. Freehold estate is the highest level of property ownership, giving the owners the right of possession, control, exclusion, enjoyment, and disposition. Question 7. If your broker sells a triangular parcel of land for $750 an acre and your commission rate is 8%, what will be your commission if the land has a base length of 1,200 feet and a height of 700 feet? A. $578.51. B. $1,680.20. C. $2,520.05. D. $3,360. The correct answer is A. $578.51. The triangular parcel's area is 1/2 times base length times height equals 1/2 times 1,200 feet times 700 feet equals 420,000 square feet. There is 43,560 square feet in an acre. 420,000 divided by 43,560 equals 9.6418,733 acres. 9.6418,733 acres times $750 equals $7,231.40 times 8% equals $578.51. Question 8. Tom is constructing a new house valued at $100,000. Given that the average property value of his surrounding neighbors is $225, which principle suggests that Tom will experience a positive effect on his property value? A. Principle of regression. B. Principle of progression. C. Principle of substitution. D. Principle of contribution. The correct answer is B. Principle of progression. The principle of progression states that a property's value tends to increase when surrounded by higher valued properties. Tom's property value may benefit from the higher average property values of his neighbors. Question 9. Bob Jones, who lacks a real estate license, hires Sally's salesperson to sell his property. During Sally's absence, Bob shows the property, provides price quotations, and accepts deposits. What are the implications of Bob's actions? A. Bob's actions are legal as long as Sally consents. B. Bob's actions are illegal and can lead to legal consequences. C. Bob's actions are permissible if he is a property owner. D. Bob's actions are acceptable as long as he doesn't sign any contracts. The correct answer is B. Bob's actions are illegal and can lead to legal consequences. Conducting real estate activities without a license is prohibited in most jurisdictions. Bob's actions, such as showing the property, quoting prices, and accepting deposits, violate licensing requirements and can result in legal consequences. Question 10. What is the general purpose for cities to require building permits? A. Permit fees are income for the city. B. Control the amount of building allowed. C. To supersede deed restrictions. D. To require a minimum level of construction standards. The correct answer is D. To require a minimum level of construction standards. The purpose of building permits are to ensure a minimum level of construction standards which maintains the safety and well-being of the public. And now for a bonus question. If you appreciate this material, what is the best way you can help support this channel? A. Simply hit the like button. B. Leave a comment letting us know your exam date. C. Purchase our exclusive exam prep by clicking the link in the description. D. All of the above. The correct answer is A. Simply hit the like button. The best way to support the channel is by simply hitting the like button. Although all of the above would greatly help our channel, we wanted to take a moment to let you know we appreciate you watching this video very much. And we sincerely hope you pass your upcoming exam and have a very successful career in real estate. Question 11. What is a true statement regarding the recording of a deed? A. Recording a deed establishes ownership rights. B. Recording a deed is optional. C. Recording a deed transfers mortgage responsibility. D. Recording a deed protects against property taxes. The correct answer is A. Recording a deed establishes ownership rights. Recording a deed in the appropriate government office establishes the legal proof of ownership and protects the property rights of the owner. Question 12. The City of Brownwood plans to build a new water treatment facility, but the land that is required is privately owned. Eminent domain allows the city to A. Take possession of the land with no compensation to the property owner. B. Do nothing. The city does not own the land and they cannot take it. C. Ask the property owner to donate the land. D. Take possession of the land against the owner's wishes, yet the owner must be compensated. The correct answer is D. Take possession of the land against the owner's wishes, yet the owner must be compensated. Eminent domain allows the government to take possession of privately owned land for use by the public, even at the objection of the owner, as long as the property owner receives compensation. Question 13. When the appraised value of a property is given, it is based on A. Comparable sales, B. A lower purchase price, C. None of these, D. An exact determination of market value. The correct answer is A. Comparable sales. The appraised value of a property is given by comparable sales as well as an opinion of the property's fair market value. Question 14. Agent Brooke is preparing for a listing appointment and has gathered information to prepare a report of recent market data for the seller to review. The report agents reconcile to obtain a reasonable list price for a property based on current listings, recent sales, and expireds would be called A. Comparable Marketing Analytics, CMA, B. Broker Price, Opinion, BPO, C. Comparative Market Analysis, CMA, D. Agent Market Analysis, AMA. The correct answer is C. Comparative Market Analysis, CMA. The report agents reconcile to obtain a reasonable list price for a property based on current listings, recent sales, and expireds is called a comparative market analysis, CMA. Question 15. What does the term merchantable title or marketable title refer to? A. A title free from defects and legal encumbrances. B. A title with high market value. C. A title related to commercial properties. D. A title granted to merchants. The correct answer is A. A title free from defects and legal encumbrances. Merchantable title, or marketable title, refers to a property title that is considered clear and free from defects, liens, or other legal issues that could affect ownership rights or transferability. Question 16. John's Tire Store is being built across the street from Big Bob's Tires. What appraisal principle describes this situation? A. Substitution. B. Plottage. C. Competition. D. Progression. The correct answer is C. Competition. The appraisal principle of competition states that two similar businesses attract more customers when within close proximity than they would separately. Question 17. If a landlord receives rent at the start of the month and sells the property 10 days later, how should the rent be prorated at settlement? A. No proration is needed. B. The entire month's rent is credited to the seller. C. The entire month's rent is credited to the buyer. D. The rent is divided based on the number of days owned by the seller and the buyer. The correct answer is D. The rent is divided based on the number of days owned by the seller and the buyer. To ensure a fair settlement, the rent should be prorated, dividing it based on the number of days the seller and buyer each own the property. Question 18. Which statement indicates that any verbal discussions made prior to a written contract are invalidated and cannot be considered? A. Statute of frauds. B. Parole evidence rule. C. Doctrine of laches. D. Rescission. The correct answer is B. Parole evidence rule. The parole evidence rule states that any verbal agreements or discussions made prior to a written contract are invalidated and cannot be considered in the contract's interpretation. Question 19. Which of the following formulas is used to determine value through the income approach in real estate? A. Value equals land cost plus construction cost. B. Value equals market demand plus supply. C. Value equals gross rent. Multiplier times monthly rent. D. Value equals appraised price minus closing costs. The correct answer is C. Value equals gross rent. Multiplier times monthly rent. The income approach calculates value by multiplying the gross rent multiplier, GRM, with the monthly rent, providing an estimation of the property's worth based on its income potential. Question 20. The beautiful town of Big Bear is experiencing a fast influx of new residents. There are few homes on the market and no new construction developments in the works. What will this do to the price of the existing homes in the area? A. The prices will decline over time. B. The prices will remain stable. C. The prices will decline swiftly. D. The prices will increase. The correct answer is D. The prices will increase. The principle of supply and demand control property values. An influx of new residents in an area with limited housing drives property values up. Question 21. Homeowner. Paul is selling his home without a real estate agent. He places an advertisement stating, "Owner financing 3% down payment." Is Paul's advertisement in violation of the Truth in Lending Act? A. Yes. When a down payment is listed, there must be a price listed also. B. No. Property owners are not regulated by TRIL advertising requirements. C. Yes. All the terms of the owner financing are not disclosed. D. Yes. The ad contains trigger terms. The correct answer is B. No. Property owners are not regulated by TRIL advertising requirements. The Truth in Lending Act and Regulation Z regulates the terms used in lending advertisements by lenders. Property owners are exempt from the advertising requirements when selling their property. Question 22. At what point does legal title to real property transfer from the seller to the buyer? A. Offer acceptance. B. Purchase agreement signing. C. Closing or settlement. D. Earnest money deposit. The correct answer is C. Closing or settlement. Legal title to real property typically transfers from the seller to the buyer at the closing or settlement, where all necessary documents are signed, funds are exchanged, and ownership is officially transferred. Question 23. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 prohibits A. Racial discrimination in the sale of residential property. B. Racial discrimination in the lease of residential property. C. Racial discrimination in the sale or lease of residential or commercial property. D. Racial discrimination in the lease or sale of commercial property. The correct answer is C. Racial discrimination in the sale or lease of residential or commercial property. Racial discrimination in the sale or lease of residential or commercial property is prohibited in the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Question 24. Tom and Jerry enter into a contract where Tom agrees to build a house and sell it to Jerry in 120 days. Jerry agrees to pay Tom's price within 60 days of completion. What type of contract is this before the house is completed? A. Option contract. B. Installment contract. C. Construction contract. D. Executory contract. The correct answer is D. Executory contract. This is an executory contract because both parties have yet to fulfill their obligations. The contract is binding, but the actions agreed upon are pending completion. Question 25. Mr. Brown grants his neighbor, Mr. White, a written servitude to cross his property, which is properly recorded. Later, Mr. Brown sells the property to Mr. Green without disclosing the existence of the servitude. What happens to this servitude? A. The servitude remains valid and continues to be enforceable against Mr. Green. B. The servitude is automatically terminated upon the sale of the property. C. Mr. White must request a new servitude from Mr. Green. D. The servitude becomes void and unenforceable against Mr. Green. The correct answer is A. The servitude remains valid and continues to be enforceable against Mr. Green. The servitude, being properly recorded, is binding on subsequent property owners, including Mr. Green, who must respect and honor the granted right-of-way. Question 26. Mike and Ike orally agree to a 2-year lease. If Ike breaches the agreement, can Mike bring a court action to enforce the lease? Explain why or why not. A. Yes, because an oral lease is legally binding. B. Yes, because Ike's breach violates the lease agreement. C. No, because oral leases are unenforceable. D. No, because written documentation is required for a valid lease. The correct answer is C. No, because oral leases are unenforceable. In most jurisdictions, oral leases exceeding a certain duration, for example, 1 year, are unenforceable. Leases generally require written documentation to be legally binding. Question 27. Mark is not able to make his entire mortgage payment on time each month and has fallen behind on payments. Because of his failure to pay, his lender, ABC Home Loans, sent him notice that they are calling for the remaining mortgage balance to be paid in full in one lump sum immediately. This is an example of A, judicial foreclosure, B, subordination clause, C, acceleration clause, D, escalation clause. The correct answer is C, acceleration clause. An acceleration clause allows the lender to call for the note to be paid in full in one lump sum immediately when a borrower falls behind in payments. Question 28. On a 90 feet by 90 feet lot with building setbacks of 30 feet from the front, 10 feet from the sides, and 20 feet from the rear, what is the net building area in square feet? A. 2,800 square feet. B. 4,500 square feet. C. 5,400 square feet. D. 6,210 square feet. The correct answer is A. 2,800 square feet. To calculate the net building area, subtract the setbacks from the lot dimensions. 90 minus 30 minus 20 times 90 minus 2 times 10 equals 40 times 70 equals 2,800 square feet per floor. Question 29. Which statement accurately describes a real estate mortgage? A. It conveys ownership of the property to the lender. B. It is a security instrument that pledges the property as collateral for a loan. C. It grants the borrower exclusive possession rights to the property. D. It automatically terminates upon loan repayment. The correct answer is B. It is a security instrument that pledges the property as collateral for a loan. A real estate mortgage serves as a security instrument where the borrower pledges the property as collateral to secure a loan, providing the lender with the right to foreclose if the loan is not repaid. Question 30. How are the numbers typically assigned on a range? A. From highest to lowest. B. From north to south. C. From west to east. D. From lowest to highest. The correct answer is C. From west to east. Numbers on a range, typically used for rural addresses, are assigned in ascending order from west to east along a road or street. Question 31. How do you determine the property taxes for a property? A. Multiply the assessed value by the tax rate. B. Subtract the tax exemptions from the assessed value. C. Divide the market value by the millage rate. D. Add the appraised value and the assessed value. The correct answer is A. Multiply the assessed value by the tax rate. Property taxes are typically calculated by multiplying the assessed value of the property by the tax rate set by the local government. Question 32. A lot with dimensions of 85 feet by 190 feet and 55 feet 9 inches by 120 feet has sold at $2 per square foot. What is the broker's commission at an 8% rate? A. $3,654.40. B. $8,208. C. $9,680. D. $11,528. The correct answer is A. $3,654.40. Calculate the total area of the lot by adding the areas of the two sections, 85 feet by 190 feet, plus 55 feet 9 inches by 120 feet, equals 22,840 square feet. 22,840 times $2 equals $45,680 sale price. Take the sales price times commission equals $3,654.40. Question 33. In which type of financing can negative amortization occur? A. Fixed rate mortgage. B. Adjustable rate mortgage. C. Conventional mortgage. D. FHA loan. The correct answer is B. Adjustable rate mortgage. Negative amortization can occur in an adjustable rate mortgage when the monthly payment is insufficient to cover the interest, resulting in the unpaid interest being added to the loan balance. Question 34. What is the primary characteristic of a variable rate mortgage? A. Fixed interest rate throughout the loan term. B. Ability to make extra principal payments. C. Monthly payment remains constant. D. Interest rate fluctuates based on market conditions. The correct answer is D. Interest rate fluctuates based on market conditions. The primary characteristic of a variable rate mortgage is that the interest rate adjusts periodically, typically based on an index such as the prime rate or treasury bill rate. Question 35. What is the term for the right of a water company to lay and maintain water mains along the rear of a lot? A. Water easement. B. Water servitude. C. Water lion. D. Water encroachment. The correct answer is A. Water easement. The right of a water company to lay and maintain water mains along the rear of a lot is commonly referred to as a water easement, granting the company access to the property for water supply infrastructure. Question 36. What does the covenant of season entail? A. Guarantee of clear title. B. Right to possess the property. C. Obligation to pay property taxes. D. Maintenance of the property's physical condition. The correct answer is A. Guarantee of clear title. The covenant of season ensures that the grantor of a property has the legal right to transfer ownership and guarantees that the property's title is free from any defects or claims. Question 37. If a right is not asserted within a reasonable time frame, what consequence might a court determine? A. Estoppel. B. Lien. C. Adverse possession. D. Abandonment. The correct answer is D. Abandonment. Failing to assert a right within a reasonable period of time can lead a court to determine that the right has been abandoned or waived by the party, thereby losing the ability to assert it. Question 38. A landlord selling his property collected June rent from 5 tenants, 2 at $345 and 3 at $425. What is the total rent collected? A. $1,965. B. $2,145. C. $2,135. D. $2,115. The correct answer is A. $1,965. Add the rent collected from each tenant, 2 times $345 plus 3 times $425 equals $1,965. Question 39. Which of the following is not a function of FNMA, Fannie Mae? A. Purchasing mortgage loans. B. Securitizing mortgages. C. Providing mortgage insurance. D. Regulating mortgage interest rates. The correct answer is D. Regulating mortgage interest rates. FNMA's functions include purchasing mortgage loans, securitizing mortgages, and providing mortgage insurance, but it does not regulate mortgage interest rates, which are set by market forces. Question 40. Which of the following best describes the economic characteristics of land? A. Demand, utility, scarcity, transferability, situs. B. Scarcity, situs, immobility, utility, demand. C, situs, transferability, demand, immobility. D, indestructibility, demand, non-homogeneous, situs. The correct answer is A, demand, utility, scarcity, transferability, situs. The 5 economic characteristics of land are demand, utility, scarcity, transferability, situs. The lack of any of these characteristics reduces the land's utility and value. Question 41. Kevin is leasing a storefront to open a pizza parlor. Any items he attaches to the property which he will use to conduct his business would be A, property of the property owner, B, trade fixtures, C, chattel, D, real property. The correct answer is B, trade fixtures. Items and equipment used to conduct business, such as pizza ovens, walk-in coolers, and salad bars, are considered trade fixtures and property of the tenant. Question 42. What does it indicate when a borrower makes monthly loan payments of $612 on an amortized loan? A, interest-only loan. B, negative amortization. C, fully amortized loan. D, balloon payment loan. The correct answer is C, fully amortized loan. Monthly loan payments of $612 on an amortized loan indicate that the borrower is paying both principal and interest over the loan term, leading to full repayment by the end. Question 43. Which of the following is not a characteristic of an independent contractor relationship with a broker? A, employee benefits provided. B, flexible work schedule. C, payment on a commission basis. D, control over work methods. The correct answer is A, employee benefits provided. Independent contractors typically do not receive employee benefits provided by the broker. They have more autonomy and are compensated based on commissions earned. Question 44. If the monthly payment on a mortgage loan is $1,412 and the interest rate is 11.5%, what is the principal sum? A, $147,399.13. B, $160,020.65. C, $180,050. D, $210,023. The correct answer is A, $147,399.13. The principal sum can be calculated by dividing the yearly payment by the interest rate. First, find the yearly payment. $1,412 times 12 equals $16,944, divided by 0.115 equals $147,399.13. Question 45. What type of covenants are typically included in general warranty deeds? A, covenant of seisin, quiet enjoyment, and further assurance. B, covenant of redemption, encumbrance, and merger. C, covenant of acceleration, estoppel, and subordination. D, covenant of warranty, breach, and disclaimer. The correct answer is A, covenant of seisin, quiet enjoyment, and further assurance. General warranty deeds commonly include covenants of seisin, ownership, quiet enjoyment, freedom from interference, and further assurance, protection against defects. Question 46. An additional individual who is both obligated on the loan and is on the title to the property is called A, an agent party, B, a partner, C, a borrower in trust, D, a co-borrower. The correct answer is D, a co-borrower. A person that is added to the loan becomes obligated for the loan and is also on the title to the property is called a co-borrower. Question 47. Leslie is showing her listing to some prospective buyer customers. Leslie grew up just down the road and knows this property was once used as a dump site many years ago. Does Leslie have to make the prospective buyers aware of this information since they are customers and not clients? A. No, the seller is responsible for disclosures. B. No, they are not clients. C. Yes, the agent must disclose. D. No, buyers are responsible for inspections. The correct answer is C. Yes, the agent must disclose. Agents owe clients and customers alike the disclosure of any possible environmental hazards. Question 48. What are the practical essentials required for a valid contract in real estate? A. Offer and acceptance, consideration, and legal purpose. B. Written form, notarization, and witnesses. C. Clear title, property survey, and inspections. D. Buyer's pre-approval, seller's disclosure, and appraisal. The correct answer is A. Offer and acceptance, consideration, and legal purpose. To form a valid contract in real estate, there must be a clear offer and acceptance, consideration exchanged, typically money, and the contract must serve a legal purpose. Question 49. Which statement is true regarding real estate sales contracts? A. They are binding only if written on a specific form. B. Oral agreements are sufficient to create enforceable contracts. C. They must be signed by both parties to be valid. D. Verbal offers are legally binding and can be accepted. The correct answer is C. They must be signed by both parties to be valid. Real estate sales contracts require the signatures of both the buyer and seller to be considered valid and enforceable, providing clear evidence of mutual consent and agreement. Question 50. A listing agreement in writing creates which form of agency? A. Negligent agency. B. Implied agency. C. Express agency. D. Ostensible agency. The correct answer is C. Express agency. A written listing agreement creates an expressed agency. The agency relationship is expressed in writing. Question 51. In compliance with fair housing regulations, any deed restriction or covenant that would prohibit the conveyance of the property to a member of a protected class is A. Legal, B. Is not legal, considered void, and unenforceable. C. Will stand in court. D. Valid. The correct answer is B. Is not legal, considered void, and unenforceable. In compliance with fair housing regulations, any deed restriction or covenant that would prohibit the conveyance of the property to members of a protected class is not legal, considered void, and unenforceable. Question 52. The 3-day right of rescission, as per Regulation Z, applies to which situation? A. Commercial real estate transactions. B. Refinancing a mortgage. C. Purchase of a primary residence. D. Sale of a rental property. The correct answer is B. Refinancing a mortgage. The 3-day right of rescission under Regulation Z gives borrowers the right to cancel a mortgage refinance transaction within 3 business days of closing. Question 53. The provision that states all prospective buyers are to be given the same opportunity to select available houses in their price range without restrictions because of race, color, religion, or national origin is found in which law? A. The Federal Anti-Discrimination Act. B. The State Fair Housing Act. C. The Uniform Commercial Code. D. The Federal Fair Housing Law. The correct answer is D. The Federal Fair Housing Law. The Federal Fair Housing Law allows all prospective buyers to be given the same opportunity to select available houses in their price range without restrictions because of race, color, religion, or national origin. Question 54. In a township, what does Section 11 represent? A. A unit of land measuring 1 square mile. B. The designated commercial area. C. The public park or recreational area. D. The local government administrative division. The correct answer is A. A unit of land measuring 1 square mile. In a township, Section 11 represents a unit of land measuring 1 square mile, typically used for administrative and surveying purposes. Question 55. If an appraiser calculates the total land value and then adds the value of the improvements, this method is referred to as what? A. Cost approach. B. Market approach. C. Income approach. D. Sales comparison approach. The correct answer is A. Cost approach. The cost approach in real estate appraisal involves estimating the value of land and adding the value of improvements based on the cost of construction or replacement. Question 56. A fiduciary relationship exists between the listing broker and the seller. The fiduciary ends, however, if the seller does which of the following? A. Rejects an offer from a potential buyer. B. Hires an attorney for legal advice. C. Withdraws the property from the market. D. Provides financial disclosures to the buyer. The correct answer is C. Withdraws the property from the market. The fiduciary relationship between the listing broker and the seller typically ends if the seller decides to withdraw the property from the market, terminating the broker's authority. Question 57. A real estate company listed a piece of property at $4.50 per square foot. The lot was 50 feet by 137 feet. The commission was 7.25%. What amount would the seller pay the real estate company? A. $2,234.83. B. $9,545.25. C. $10,452.88. D. $16,762.14. The correct answer is A. $2,234.83. The total price of the lot is calculated as 50 feet times 137 feet equals $6,850 times $4.50 equals $30,825. Then take that and multiply it by 0.0725 equals $2,234.83. Question 58. All of the following are defined and protected under familial status according to the 1988 Amendment of the Federal Fair Housing Law of 1968, except for which one? A. Families with children under 18. B. Pregnant women. C. Individuals with disabilities. D. Married couples without children. The correct answer is D. Married couples without children. The Federal Fair Housing Law of 1968, amended in 1988, protects familial status, which includes families with children, pregnant women, and individuals with disabilities, but it does not specifically protect married couples without children. Question 59. What does the term Escheat mean in the context of real estate? A. The transfer of property ownership through inheritance. B. The process of a property being taken over by a government entity. C. The negotiation and execution of a real estate contract. D. The appraisal of a property's market value. The correct answer is B. The process of a property being taken over by a government entity. Escheat refers to the transfer of property ownership to a government entity when an individual dies without leaving a will or legal heirs. Question 60. If the market value of real estate is $72,000 and the property is assessed at 67% of value, what would be the monthly taxes if the tax rate for the area is $6.50 per $100 of assessed value? A. $261.30. B. $312. C. $389.76. D. $420.48. The correct answer is A. $261.30. The assessed value is calculated as $72,000 times 67% equals $48,200. $240 times $6.5 equals $3,135.6 divided by 12 equals $261.30. Question 61. Betty Smith took title to property in the name Elizabeth Smith. When she sold the property, she signed Betty Smith as grantor. The buyer has which of the following? A valid claim to the property. B, no legal recourse. C, uncertain ownership rights. D, the right to challenge the transaction. The correct answer is C, uncertain ownership rights. The inconsistency in the name used by the seller creates ambiguity regarding the ownership rights of the buyer, leading to uncertainty and potential legal complications. Question 62. All of the following are involved in the secondary mortgage market, except for which one? A, mortgage lenders. B, mortgage brokers. C, government-sponsored enterprises. D, home buyers. The correct answer is D, home buyers. The secondary mortgage market involves various entities like mortgage lenders, mortgage brokers, and government-sponsored enterprises, such as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but home buyers are not directly involved in this market. Question 63. What is the method of creating an agency relationship in which the principal accepts the conduct of someone who acted without prior authorization as the principal's agent? A, implied agency. B, ostensible agency. C, express agency. D, ratified agency. The correct answer is D, ratified agency. Ratified agency occurs when the principal accepts or confirms the actions of someone who acted as their agent without prior authorization, thereby creating an agency relationship. Question 64. A buyer wishes to give a post-dated check with an offer. What should the broker do? A, accept the post-dated check. B, inform the buyer that post-dated checks are not accepted. C, advise the buyer to provide a certified check instead. D, consult with the seller before deciding. The correct answer is C, advise the buyer to provide a certified check instead. Post-dated checks may create uncertainty and complications in the transaction. It is advisable for the broker to recommend a certified check, which provides immediate funds and security. Question 65. Sharon made an offer on her dream home, and to show the seller she was a serious buyer, she offered a sum of money to be held in escrow that she will forfeit if she does not fulfill her end of the deal. What is the sum of money to be held in escrow as a good faith deposit called? A, pre-funding deposit. B, broker deposit. C, earnest money. D, purchase promise. Deposit. The correct answer is C, earnest money. A contract can include earnest money to be held in escrow as a good faith deposit, which is applied toward the purchase price at closing. Question 66. Once all terms of a contract have been fulfilled and the transaction has closed, the contract status is said to be fully A, rescinded. B, executed. C, insured. D, amended. The correct answer is B, executed. Once all terms of a contract have been fulfilled and the transaction closed, the contract is fully executed. Question 67. John signs a 6-month lease on an apartment beginning January 1st and ending June 30th. His lease does not automatically renew and no notice is required on his part to vacate on the expiration date. What type of lease did John sign? A, estate at will. B, estate from period to period. C, estate for months. D, estate for years. The correct answer is D, estate for years. An estate for years is a lease for a fixed period of time rather than month to month that does not automatically renew and requires no notice to terminate at the end of the term. Question 68. What duty does an agent acting as a property manager owe a property owner? A, principal duties. B. Fiduciary duties. C. Legal duties. D. Regulatory duties. The correct answer is B. Fiduciary duties. A property management agreement creates a general agency between the property owner and the licensee. Therefore, a property manager owes the property owner fiduciary duties. The fiduciary duty requires the agent to act in the property owner's best interest. Question 69. A property management contract should include all of the following, except A. Signatures of the property owner and licensee. B. Duration of the agreement. C. Signature of the tenant. D. Management fee. The correct answer is C. Signature of the tenant. The property management agreement is an employment contract between the property owner and the agent licensee. A tenant will sign a lease, but not the property management agreement. Question 70. Which statement below is true concerning mutual recognition? A. It allows real estate professionals to practice without a license in different states. B. It only applies to certain types of real estate transactions. C. It simplifies the process of obtaining a real estate license in multiple states. D. It restricts real estate professionals from working outside their home state. The correct answer is C. It simplifies the process of obtaining a real estate license in multiple states. Mutual recognition agreements between states allow real estate professionals to obtain licenses in multiple states more easily, reducing the burden of duplicative licensing requirements. Question 71. The seller has chosen to list his house with ABC Brokerage and is organizing a lottery where participants purchase $1,000 tickets. The winner drawn at the end of the month will become the new owner of the home. Which statement below applies? A. Participants purchase tickets, and the winner becomes the new owner. B. Participants enter the lottery for free, and the winner becomes the new owner. C. Participants purchase tickets, and the winner receives a cash prize. D. Participants purchase tickets, and the winner gets a discount on the house. The correct answer is A. Participants purchase tickets, and the winner becomes the new owner. In this scenario, participants buy tickets for the lottery, and the person whose ticket is drawn becomes the new owner of the house. Question 72. Which of the following statements is true regarding registration with the Department of Business and Professional Regulations? A. Registration is optional for real estate professionals. B. Registration is required for real estate professionals. C. Registration is required for buyers but not sellers. D. Registration is required for sellers but not buyers. The correct answer is B. Registration is required for real estate professionals. Real estate professionals are generally required to register with the Department of Business and Professional Regulations to ensure compliance with regulations and industry standards. Question 73. Sabrina and Logan have formed a partnership for real estate transactions, each investing a 50% interest and agreeing to split the profits equally. Which statement below is true about their arrangement? A. They will only split profits if the partnership incurs losses. B. They will split profits based on the percentage of investment. C. They will split profits based on the amount of time invested. D. They will split profits equally, regardless of their investment percentages. The correct answer is D. They will split profits equally, regardless of their investment percentages. Sabrina and Logan have agreed to divide the profits equally, regardless of the specific percentage of their individual investments in the partnership. Question 74. Donnie's neighbor Paul has an easement to cross Donnie's property to get to his own. The easement is recorded and transfers with the land if either Donnie or Paul sell their property. When an easement is on a title, it is an example of an A. Encroachment, B. Estoppel, C. Encumbrance, D. Equitable title. The correct answer is C. Encumbrance. An encumbrance is a limitation placed on a title such as a lien, lease, or easement. Such encumbrance is important to identify as it may affect the value and/or utility of the property. Question 75. Sales associate Jimmy, a top producer at Highland Homes, has been asked by the owner to work at a new Highland Homes location in addition to his current location. What is true about Jimmy's situation? A. Jimmy will be exclusively assigned to the new location. B. Jimmy will continue working only at his current location. C. Jimmy will split his time between the new location and his current location. D. Jimmy will transition to working solely at the new location. The correct answer is C. Jimmy will split his time between the new location and his current location. The owner has requested Jimmy to work at the new location while also maintaining his responsibilities at his current location, resulting in a shared workload between the two places. Question 76. Among real estate relationship disclosure forms, which is the only form that requires a signature or initials? A. Buyer's disclosure form. B. Seller's disclosure form. C. Dual agency disclosure form. D. Transaction broker notice. The correct answer is C. Dual agency disclosure form. The dual agency disclosure form is the only form among real estate relationship disclosure forms that typically requires the signature or initials of the parties involved to acknowledge their understanding of dual agency representation. Question 77. Which statement below is true concerning agency in real estate? A. An agent can represent both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction without any conflict of interest. B. Agency relationships can only be established through written agreements. C. Agents are always required to disclose their agency relationships to all parties involved in a real estate transaction. D. The type of agency relationship is determined solely by the agent, without the consent of the client. The correct answer is C. Agents are always required to disclose their agency relationships to all parties involved in a real estate transaction. Real estate agents have a legal obligation to disclose their agency relationships to all parties involved in a transaction to ensure transparency and avoid any potential conflicts of interest. Question 78. When agents get together and have a discussion regarding setting a fixed commission rate so that they are all charging the same rate, this conversation violates what act? A. Homestead Act. B. Fair Housing Act. C. Ada Act. D. Sherman Antitrust Act. The correct answer is D. Sherman Antitrust Act. This activity among agents constitutes price fixing. Price fixing is a violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act. Question 79. What duty requires an agent to place the client's best interest above all others? A. Honesty. B. Loyalty. C. Respect. D. Obedience. The correct answer is B. Loyalty. The agent's duty of loyalty requires the agent to put the client's best interest above all others. Question 80. Which of the following actions would terminate a single agency relationship with the principal who hired a broker to list his house? A. The principal temporarily suspends the listing agreement. B. The broker assigns another agent to handle the listing. C. The principal decides to withdraw the property from the market. D. The broker finds a potential buyer for the property. The correct answer is C. The principal decides to withdraw the property from the market. If the principal decides to withdraw the property from the market, it would typically terminate the single agency relationship established with the broker for listing the house. Question 81. Which of the following statements accurately describes agency? A. Agency refers to the legal relationship between a real estate agent and their client. B. Agency only exists when a real estate agent represents the seller. C. Agency is a term used exclusively for commercial real estate transactions. D. Agency is not relevant in real estate dealings. The correct answer is A. Agency refers to the legal relationship between a real estate agent and their client. Agency is a fundamental concept in real estate, encompassing the relationship between an agent and their client, whether representing the buyer or seller. Question 82. Which of the following statements is false regarding brokerage offices? A. Brokerage offices serve as a central location for real estate agents to conduct business. B. Brokerage offices are typically owned and operated by licensed brokers. C. Brokerage offices are not involved in the process of property transactions. D. Brokerage offices provide administrative support and resources to their affiliated agents. The correct answer is C. Brokerage offices are not involved in the process of property transactions. Brokerage offices play a crucial role in facilitating property transactions, providing support, resources, and a physical space for agents to conduct their business. Question 83. Which of the following advertisements would be considered a blind ad? A. Charming beachfront property with breathtaking views. Contact for details. B. Spacious 3-bedroom home in a family-friendly neighborhood. Call to schedule a viewing. C. Luxury penthouse available in prestigious downtown tower. Inquire for more information. D. Affordable fixer-upper with great investment potential. Contact for address and showing. The correct answer is D. Affordable fixer-upper with great investment potential. Contact for address and showing. A blind ad withholds specific property details, such as the address, requiring interested parties to inquire further for additional information. Question 84. In Janice's situation, what can be inferred based on her concern about her name not being included on the brokerage sign? A. Janice is dissatisfied with the overall working environment at the brokerage. B. Janice believes her name on the sign would positively impact her professional image. C. Janice is concerned about the legality of not having her name displayed. D. Janice wants her name on the sign as a symbol of seniority and recognition. The correct answer is B. Janice believes her name on the sign would positively impact her professional image. Janice's concern about her name not being on the brokerage sign suggests that she values the visibility and recognition it brings, which can enhance her professional reputation. Question 85. Broker Willie, aware that 4520 Central Street in St. Petersburg was recently rented through a competing brokerage, decides to advertise the property for rent. What best describes Willie's action? A. Willie is engaging in an unethical business practice by advertising a property that is not available for rent. B. Willie is trying to attract potential renters and buyers to his brokerage by advertising a recently rented property. C. Willie is helping the competing brokerage by promoting their recently rented property to a wider audience. D. Willie is attempting to find new leads by advertising a property that he believes will become available for rent again soon. The correct answer is B. Willie is trying to attract potential renters and buyers to his brokerage by advertising a recently rented property. Willie sees the recently rented property as an opportunity to generate leads and interest from potential clients by advertising it for rent, even though it is not currently available. Question 86. Toya, a sales associate, plans to sell her house to capitalize on her real estate expertise. What accurately describes Toya's situation? A. Toya can expect to sell her house quickly due to her industry knowledge. B. Toya's real estate expertise will not have an impact on the sale of her house. C. Toya's professional background may enable her to maximize profit from selling her house. D. Toya's real estate expertise will make it difficult for her to find a buyer for her house. The correct answer is C. Toya's professional background may enable her to maximize a profit from selling her house. Toya's knowledge and experience in real estate can provide her with an advantage in effectively marketing and negotiating the sale of her own property. Question 87. When an escrow deposit is placed with a title company or attorney, what procedures must be followed? A. The escrow deposit must be immediately released to the seller. B. The escrow deposit is held until the closing date, then disbursed according to the terms of the contract. C. The escrow deposit is refunded to the buyer if the seller fails to meet certain conditions. D. The escrow deposit is used to pay the real estate agent's commission. The correct answer is B. The escrow deposit is held until the closing date, then disbursed according to the terms of the contract. When an escrow deposit is made, it is typically held by the title company or attorney until the closing of the transaction, at which point it is disbursed according to the agreed-upon terms. Question 88. Landry owns a duplex and personally occupies one of the units. He has one unit for rent and refuses to rent it to anyone with small children because kids are loud. If he refuses applicants with children, has he committed a violation or any discriminatory acts? A. Yes, he can be fined. B. Yes, he has to rent to anyone. C. Yes, he has discriminated based on familial status. D. No, he is exempt from fair housing regulations because he owns a dwelling with 4 or less units and personally occupies one of the units. The correct answer is D. No, he is exempt from fair housing regulations because he owns a dwelling with 4 or less units and personally occupies one of the units. The Fair Housing Act allows a landlord that owns a dwelling with 4 or less units and personally occupies one of the units to be exempt, as long as the property owner does not use an agent to lease the property and makes no discriminatory advertisements. Question 89. The Fair Housing Act pertains to certain groups as protected classes. Which of the following is not a protected class under fair housing? A. Felons. B. Elderly. C. Handicapped. D. Single mothers. The correct answer is A. Felons. Felons are not a protected class under federal fair housing regulations. Question 90. Broker Ben has E&O insurance and is selling an investment property that he owns. He has made a few false statements and misrepresentations, but he really needs to sell the property fast. What would happen if someone were to sue him for his false statement? A. E&O insurance will not cover negligence of a broker selling property he owns. B. The E&O insurance will defend him, but charge him double premium. C. The E&O insurance only covers agents in commercial transactions. D. The E&O insurance would cover him. The correct answer is A. E&O insurance will not cover negligence of a broker selling property he owns. Errors and omissions insurance does not cover intentional acts. E&O insurance will not cover negligence of a broker selling property he owns. Question 91. Karen recently sold a home for 6% commission. If her commission was $20,700, how much did the property sell for? A. $340,000. B. $342,000. C. $345,000. D. $348,000. The correct answer is C. $345,000. $20,700 divided by 0.06 equals $345,000. Question 92. If two property owners live as neighbors and one of them makes improvements to their property that accidentally crosses the legal property line of the other property owner, this would be termed as an A. Embankment, B. Encroachment, C. Delineation, D. Easement. The correct answer is B. Encroachment. An encroachment can happen when an improvement illegally intrudes on another's property. Question 93. Which statement concerning partnerships is incorrect? A. In a general partnership, all partners share equal responsibility and liability for the business. B. Limited partnerships have both general partners and limited partners with different levels of responsibility and liability. C. Partnerships require a formal written agreement outlining the roles, responsibilities, and profit-sharing arrangements. D. Partnerships provide limited liability protection to all partners involved. The correct answer is D. Partnerships provide limited liability protection to all partners involved. Partnerships do not provide limited liability protection to all partners. In a general partnership, all partners have unlimited personal liability for the partnership's debts and obligations. Question 94. If an unlicensed individual is found guilty of acting like a broker and collecting commissions, what penalty could be imposed? A. Fines and monetary penalties. B. License suspension or revocation. C. Imprisonment or jail time. D. Community service or probation. The correct answer is A. Fines and monetary penalties. Unlicensed individuals acting as brokers and collecting commissions can face penalties in the form of fines and monetary sanctions as a consequence of their unlawful activities. Question 95. When a claim against a licensee is filed and the Real Estate Recovery Fund is used to compensate, what applies? A. The licensee's professional reputation remains intact, and they are not subject to any disciplinary actions. B. The licensee must personally reimburse the Real Estate Recovery Fund for the amount paid out. C. The licensee's license may be suspended or revoked, and they may face disciplinary actions. D. The Real Estate Recovery Fund is not available to compensate claimants in cases involving licensees. The correct answer is C. The licensee's license may be suspended or revoked, and they may face disciplinary actions. If a claim against a licensee is paid from the Real Estate Recovery Fund, it indicates misconduct, which can lead to license suspension or revocation, as well as potential disciplinary actions against the licensee. Question 96. Stacy recently moved out of her rented property and was told by the landlord that she would receive her security deposit within 15 days. What statement is true regarding Stacy's security deposit? A. The landlord is legally required to return the security deposit within the specified time frame. B. The landlord can withhold the security deposit indefinitely. C. Stacy is not entitled to receive her security deposit back. D. The landlord can use the security deposit for any purpose they choose. The correct answer is A. The landlord is legally required to return the security deposit within the specified time frame. Landlords are generally obligated by law to return the security deposit to tenants within a specific period, typically outlined in local rental regulations. Question 97. The Federal Fair Housing Act, also known as the Civil Rights Act of 1968, prohibits discrimination in the showing, negotiation, sale, rental, or financing of a dwelling based on what? A. Age. B. Gender. C. Income level. D. Race. The correct answer is D. Race. The Federal Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing transactions based on race, along with other protected classes such as color, religion, national origin, familial status, and disability. Question 98. Tally, a sales associate at Madeira Brokerage firm, is instructed by her broker to exclusively show Asian-speaking prospects a new subdivision called Orient on the Express. What is this an example of? A. Redlining. B. Blockbusting. C. Steering. D. Zoning. The correct answer is C. Steering. This scenario represents steering, which involves guiding or directing individuals toward or away from certain neighborhoods or properties based on their race, ethnicity, or other protected characteristics. Question 99. In 1988, Congress amended the Fair Housing Act of 1968 to include 2 additional protected classes. Which 2 classes were added? A. Age and marital status. B. Gender and sexual orientation. C. Disability and familial status. D. National origin and religion. The correct answer is C. Disability and familial status. The Fair Housing Act was amended in 1988 to include disability and familial status as protected classes, prohibiting discrimination against individuals with disabilities and families with children. Question 100. Which estate requires the presence of all 4 unities? A. Joint tenancy. B. Tenancy in common. C. Community property. D. Tenancy by the entirety. The correct answer is D. Tenancy by the entirety. Tenancy by the entirety is a form of ownership where spouses jointly hold the property with the 4 unities of possession, interest, time, and title.
Don't forget to share this video with your friends and subscribe for more practice tests.